Hey, it's Neecee, Lexy lighting up the screen. Digital magic like you've never seen. From the stage to the mic, she's bringing the heat. With celebs and biz minds, it's always a treat. She's a boss, she's a vibe, watch her come alive. With awards on the shelf, yeah, she's on the rise. Social waves, making plays all day and night. Neeceelexy in the spotlight, shining so bright. From marketing dreams to the YouTube flow, live interviews with stars you know. Every post, every show, she's changing the game. Neeceelexy, yeah, remember the name.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Neeceelexy live interview. Today, I have a special guest who is not only an expert in digital marketing, but she's also a passionate entrepreneur celebrating African culture through desserts. She's going to be talking about her work experience as a digital marketing strategist, program assisting at George Brown College for the Black Student Success Network, and also her visionary behind the Sweet Safari, a unique brand that brings African culture through sweet indulgence. Today, we dive into her entrepreneurial journey, the inspiration behind her Sweet Safari, and how she's making an impact in the community while turning her passion into business. If you're a woman between 18 to 40, this is basically a podcast for you because you'll be learning a lot about female empowering females in businesses. And today I have the one and only with me here, my sister. Welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you, Nancy?
I am good. So for those who don't know you for the first time, basically please introduce yourself. And before I ask you more about your company, I just wanted them to get to know more about you and things like that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for the amazing introduction and for having me on your podcast show. I'm so excited to be here and share a bit about my journey. So for those who don't know me, my name is Wangechi Mwaura. I'm originally from Kenya, but I've also lived in South Africa, Uganda, and now I'm in Canada as well. I came here as an international student to study digital media marketing, but then also I have an entrepreneurial side to me, which is the business that we're going to discuss today, which is the Sweet Safari, which aims to connect different people to the different cultures in Africa through desserts. And because moving to Canada and Toronto specifically, there's quite a big diverse culture. So many different cultures and ethnicities are being represented here. But I found that there's not so much representation for authentic African desserts. So I'm here to change that.
Amazing. Hello and welcome to the live interview with Neeceelexy. We are thrilled to bring in an exclusive content in partnership with the Start GBC at the George Brown College. The Start GBC is a dynamic hub for innovations and entrepreneurships, empowering students and alumni to turn their business ideas into reality. It's a program that is fueling with the next generations of entrepreneurs by providing them with tools, mentorships, resources that need to succeed in this today's fast-paced business world. Throughout these partnerships, we are shining spotlights of the inspiring stories of the Start GBC talented entrepreneurs who are breaking grounds, pushing boundaries across various industries. These stories are not just for success. They are about resilience, creativity, and the power of entrepreneurship spirit, as well as innovations. Each of our guests has a unique product, innovations, and business model. We are super excited to share their stories as well as their business ideas so that you can be inspired to tap into the entrepreneurship journey or even get a new business partner. We're looking forward to share with you guys these incredible stories, and we would love to take this moment to thank the Startup GBC staffs and members for allowing us to highlight their stories and also partnering with us here at the Neeceelexy show. We are looking forward to hear some of the incredible stories and also share it with you. I love that. And I actually been to Kenya too, so I love the fact that you're from there. I was in Nairobi last summer in June. Yeah. So.
Oh, nice. I miss home. I'll be going soon. I haven't been home since I moved here, but I'll be going
nothing
soon.
like home, right?
I know.
Yeah. So can you tell us more about the Sweet Safari? Like what inspired you to even start it? Like tell us, like, walk through behind the scene of how you got even here with some sweet stuff.
Okay. So the Sweet Safari was not originally named the Sweet Safari. We actually just rebranded late last year.
Mm-hmm.
So when I lived in South Africa, where I've spent most of my life, I had a home-based bakery called Bake Me Crazy, and there we specialized in authentic custom cake designs for birthdays, weddings. We even catered for corporate events and all. And moving to Canada, I still wanted to bring that bakery with me and then started up here. But then when I got to Canada, I noticed that there's so many different cultures, as I mentioned before, but then there's not so much representation for authentic African desserts, especially the desserts that I grew up with in South Africa, things like Malva pudding, milk tart, peppermint crisp tarts, or even Cook Sisters. Like those are traditional South African desserts that I really, really love. And I started making them. I thought, why not introduce those desserts to the market alongside the specialty cakes that I'll be making, but then also just bridge that gap for more representation for African, authentic African desserts. So that's what got me inspired to it. And as I've been on that journey, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
first it was for me because I love the desserts. I have the biggest sweet tooth ever. But it wasn't just for me, but then it was also for the African Black diaspora that's also found here in Canada. Because as I've been talking to people and networking with them, I've noticed that it's me giving them this opportunity to taste authentic African desserts and even just South African desserts, because that's where we're starting, allows them to connect more with their roots. And that is what more people are looking for these days, ways that they can connect with their roots. And one of the biggest ways we do this is through food. So I know that we have a lot of diverse food cuisines here in Toronto, but then there's also need for representation of authentic African desserts, because we have Middle Eastern desserts, we have Asian desserts as well, but not really a lot of African desserts.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's very limited, like dessert. Even like for me being a South Sudanese, there's not. I don't even think there's a restaurant for us to even like just eat or have a dessert there. So it's great that you're bringing in the African dessert into the Toronto scene, so that way a lot of people can actually get to know more about it and actually indulge and
Yeah,
enjoy it. It's really great.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also learn that way, it's a way for me to teach people about different cultures and
Yeah.
the rich heritage that we have as well.
Exactly, exactly. So I know you probably like produce so many different desserts and a lot of people have been purchasing it. So what was your first African inspired dessert that you created and how did the people react to it?
So the first dessert that I launched with is Malva pudding.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite dessert, and it's the popular dessert that we have on our menu. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a cake sponge, which is made with apricot jam, but it's also soaked in a caramel sauce, which is made up of condensed milk, butter, milk, and sugar. So it's very nice. You can have it at room temperature or warm, or with custard or with ice cream, but it just really melts in your mouth. And the reception from that is that it's just really nice. It's not too sweet. And actually, it reminds most of the people I've connected with, it reminds them of various desserts that they've had in the past before. I
Yeah.
know, like similar, I wouldn't say it's exactly like the Black Jamaican rum cake,
Yeah.
but it reminds people of like the desserts that they've had in the um, past. Yeah.
It's so amazing how like a lot of the food have like cross culture. Like it doesn't matter where you
Yeah.
are, you can still be like, wait, there's something like something I already like
Mm-hmm.
had it. Like for example, when it comes to even like the fufu or the ugali, everybody
Yeah.
differently, but it's still kind of same
It's
concept.
kind of the same concept. You eat it with your hands.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah,
I love that. I
yeah.
love that. Um, so I know you talked about, being an African. Were there any like childhood memory or influence from your culture that shapes some of the baking dessert that you're making in the process? Like you'd be like, oh, I had this when I was, let's say, 6 years old or 5 years or like 10 years old, and I really loved it. Now I need to also like let people also taste it. Some of the
So,
desserts inspired by that, like that?
yeah, so mainly it's been Malva pudding, and then
Yeah.
there's also the milk tart,
Yeah.
which is a custard which is made up of milk, a bit
Hmm.
of cinnamon, and it's in a pastry. But then there's also a peppermint crisp tart, which is like layers of coconut, biscuit,
Yeah.
caramel, whipped cream, and mint chocolate. So those are desserts that I really love. But then one that I can remember, I don't know if it's a common dessert from home,
Yeah.
in Kenya specifically, But whenever I used to go home for holidays,
Yeah.
and would travel to go and visit my grandmother, there used to be this bakery that would stop at called Paul's Bakery, and they
Yeah.
sold the most amazing cookies ever. Big, different variety of cookies. There would be these
Yeah.
coconut drop cookies, these shortbread cookies, and that's something that I want to bring in as I plan to expand more.
Amazing, amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
It, Speaking of expansion, obviously, like how did you transition from being a digital marketing strategist to become an entrepreneur? Like how was that transition? Like what made you change into that route?
So I think I've always been an entrepreneur at heart.
Yeah.
I've loved to hustle, make money in different ways that I see that I can be able to. And
Hmm.
then also just because of the work that I do. So right now I work with the Black Student Success Network at George Brown College, and
Yeah.
I'm the interim coordinator there. So that work has allowed me to use then my marketing side of things, but there's also the community building side of things. But
Hmm.
then with that, I also get to meet a lot of students who are entrepreneurs as well. And I also kind of help them as well. I connect them to start GBC. But
Yeah.
then now, how I moved from now going into marketing and now into entrepreneurship is
Yeah.
just because I wanted to start my business again here in Toronto, and
Yeah.
then also the job that I have as well. So I think I would summarize it as being open to just opportunities that come your way,
Hmm.
because you shouldn't always feel like constricted to be just one thing in life. There's so many different hats, so many different facets, and so many different versions of ourselves. And I
Hmm.
feel it's okay to embrace that at each stage of life.
I love that. I love that how you're
Yeah.
able to like not only work with the network of students and the community at the George Brown College, but also kind of like honing into your entrepreneur spirit because you said you've always been an entrepreneur. So it's a kind of like a growth mind and as well as like navigating through like different the skills and talent that you have. You
Yeah.
mentioned earlier that you are looking to expand. Can you elaborate more on that and where you
Yeah.
planning on expanding?
Yes, so right now, I do everything by order, and my orders are usually taken online. So whether
Yeah,
it's for cakes or for desserts or to cater for corporate events, what I
yeah.
would love to do is to get into local cafes and
Mhm.
bakeries so that they can be able to supply my desserts, and then also partner with other local restaurants as well, where
Mhm.
my desserts can be a part of their menu. Because I noticed there's also still a lot of different African restaurants here,
Yeah.
and they might not also have then dessert representation within their menu. They might have maybe like fruit salad or ice cream, or maybe like a lemon cake that might be um, usual for them to get as part of their menu. And then other expansion I would like is to have, my bigger vision is to be then at local grocery stores as well.
That would be amazing. It would be especially like when you look at like let's say fresh code no frills. I've been here in
Mm,
Canada for almost 2 decades, and it's only in the last probably I would say like last 8, 10 years that's when I start seeing like they actually have this international section where they have like food from different part of the world, and I feel like once you tap into that large, real what was it called grocery stores, it's gonna make a
yeah,
different. People are actually gonna actually buy it and tap into like a larger market. Because there's
yeah.
some working out there, they'll be like, oh my God, this is like reminds me of home. I need it.
I know, yeah. Like I've met so many South Africans who are like, you're doing a really, really good thing by bringing this. They're so
Yeah,
excited to try it. Like it reminds them of home. So
yeah,
both ways, it's introducing people to these new desserts, and
yeah,
then the other way is just connecting people back to their roots and giving them that feeling of nostalgia, so that
yeah.
they can be able to reminisce of the things that they grew up with.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. And I know one thing for sure, like every business kind of faces challenges and things like that. So what challenges did you face when launching the Sweet Safari and how did you overcome it? Because there's going to be a lot of people looking up to you, be like, hey, you know what? I also want to start a business and
Yeah.
I don't know how to navigate. So like what challenges did you face and how did you navigate through that challenges?
Okay. So there's a couple of challenges I faced.
Yeah.
The ones, all internal challenges that we at one point in time have faced.
Mm-hmm.
So I was facing a challenge of the rebranding. I was
Mm-hmm.
having trouble letting go of the old brand name and transitioning into this new one. But
Yeah.
once I really tapped into the why for my business, which is a lot of entrepreneurs, your why is what will drive you, what will
Yeah.
keep you going, especially when you're having those low moments in your business. If you're not seeing any growth, but you keep on taking
Mhm.
these daily steps and you're not really seeing it, your why really helps you. So I
Yeah.
think my why is what really pushed me to then give it the final go to transition to this new name.
Yeah.
And then one other challenge that I had was I came to this country as an international student. So there was definitely a challenge in accessing certain resources. Like there were some programs that I wanted to be a part of, like the Foodpreneur Lab series, but
Mhm.
because I'm not a PR holder or a Canadian citizen, I wouldn't be eligible to be a part of that program. But then with that, I was still able to bypass those challenges by actually reaching out to the coordinators of the program or any other program which I was not eligible for and asking them for advice on how I can be able to help my business. Yeah. So the advice I would give is that don't look at challenges as a hard stop. Look at it as an opportunity of what next step can you take? What can actually be done that hasn't been done?
Amazing. I really love
Yeah.
the fact that you mentioned that because there are a lot of inspiring entrepreneurs out there. They'll be like, you know what, I don't know how to start it. They just like, I don't have support, I don't know where to go. It's really great to show them that, to share your experience, to share your stories, because not only are they going to resonate with your brand, but they're going to know, like, you know what, if she can do it, I could do it too. So you're going to be
Yeah.
um inspirational figure, because a lot of people need to see people that look like them do things in order for them to have that desire to be like, you know what, let me go chase my passion. So I'm glad you
Yeah.
shared those as well.
Yeah.
um
Thank you.
One thing for sure, I know you mentioned earlier about the George Brown community has helped you in shape or form to be able to help you with this branding. So what role of the community support that played in the growth of your business currently, would you say?
Oh, community is such an important thing.
Yeah.
You cannot go into any business that you do. You definitely need your community support,
Yeah.
whether it's your family, your friends, or various organizations that actually support small businesses.
Yeah.
That community support is important because it will, well, first of all, open doors for you, opportunities. You'll get to network with a lot of people who have been in your shoes and you can offer advice to them as well, and they can offer advice to you as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, community is very important, and Josh Brown has played a big part in that because with Start GBC, I've attended a lot of their networking events, met
Mhm.
other entrepreneurs, and even people who are not directly in line with my business, but there's potential for collaboration, like
Yeah.
event planners or wedding planners as well, who'd maybe want to utilize my products within the event planning process. And other communities, I'd say one community has been impactful would be the Building a Dream Society by Neecee. She's also a George Brown alumni as
Yeah.
well. So she started this community whereby entrepreneurs are able to access certain resources and also feed off of each other and make each other accountable as well.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. I love the community support, the effort, the fact that's like a lot of times you think that just because you're doing food business, you need to stay within the food industry.
You don't, yeah.
You're wrong. And I love the fact that you mentioned like you need to expand, good to go tap into other people, like different side of businesses to collaborate, and that's gonna make, you know, it's
It,
like it's like that African saying where like if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go.
go together.
Yeah, I love
Yes.
that.
Yeah, collaborations are really, really important. And
Yeah.
yeah, collaborate. That's one thing I'm learning late last year and this year.
Yeah.
Collaborate as much as possible because it doesn't matter like the industry, like you're saying, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be necessarily within the food industry. It could
Yeah.
be the entertainment industry. Like a couple of weeks ago, I catered for a
Yeah.
film production. They were doing their proof of concept.
Yeah.
But you see, that's where we can be able to collaborate and promote each other's businesses and projects. So
Exactly.
yeah, just always try and think like any advice I'd give, just try and think out of the box because there's nothing that's always too linear, and your business can always pivot every other day. And if you get comfortable with that, you'll really open up a lot of opportunities for yourself.
Yeah. I really love that answer. That's really, really good. And then I know also like doing food business is really interesting because it's not like any other businesses, right? There's gonna
Hmm.
be a lot of like, let's say, health related things that you need to mention in the in the food guidelines, just in case somebody allergic to certain product and things like that. What would you say is like one of the most important lesson you have learned about building a successful food business or like a dessert business? Yeah.
One thing I would say that I've learned is to listen to your customers
Mm-hmm.
because they're the people that you're trying to sell your product to. I know with every
Yeah.
business you have your target audience and all of these things, but it's
Yeah.
always still important to listen to them. So whenever I go to vendor events or whenever I do catering, I always ask for feedback, whether positive or negative, but I especially love
Mm-hmm.
the negative feedback or contradicting feedback because I take it as an opportunity for, okay, what can I do better? But also don't take it, you don't have to take that negative feedback and make it and put it so hard on yourself because with
Mm-hmm.
each and every entrepreneur, we're already doing such amazing things. Yeah. So I'd say it would be listening to your customers because one thing I found is that when I launched my desserts, I didn't have too many options for dietary restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, a product that I'm working on is to making the malva pudding dairy free, and I'm in the process of developing that recipe and testing it out. Just because I still want to ensure that the flavors still remain the same,
Yeah.
but yeah, in terms of the dietary restrictions, that's one aspect that I've heard feedback from. So I'm going to be at least be putting in a dairy-free product within my menu as well.
Amazing, amazing. And then another thing I wanted to like say, because I know you mentioned about the food products and the value of it. How do you source your ingredients? Is it like because it's an African based dessert? Do you
hmm
source it from Africa or do you find all the ingredients here in Canada and bake it?
So I don't source the products from Africa. I do find
Yeah,
the ingredients here.
yeah,
What makes it special is because of the recipe itself. So
yeah,
the recipe is like a trade secret,
yeah,
and that is what really makes the dessert
yeah,
authentic and as close to home as possible.
yeah.
I work on my recipes as much as possible because then that way it will also help me reduce the costs and not be able to outsource from outside of the country.
Amazing. I love that. I really, really love that. So I know there might be young kids that are watching you today and they are inspired by your story and by the fact that you're able to not only have a full-time job working but also have your own company. What advice would you give to them if they wanted to, let's say, start a business but they don't know how to start? What three advice would you give them?
One advice, the first one I think would be lean on your community.
Mm-hmm.
So find out whichever community you're a part of, whether it's through school, and community doesn't have to be the neighborhood also that you're living in. So the neighborhood you're living in, whether it's through school, the friends you surround yourself with, or even aspirational speakers that you have, find someone that you can be able that can help be a mentor to you. And you can have mentors in different facets. Either it's someone that you have direct access to that you can meet with them either on a weekly basis, or
Mm-hmm.
it's someone that you can be able to research them on the internet and find information about them, about their life journey and how they've come about to a place where you see yourself, where you want to be, and you
Mm-hmm.
can find out how to get that. Another one I'd say is just start. Don't wait for yourself to be ready because you'll never know when you're ready. It's like writing, it's like reading for an exam or a test. You'll
Yeah.
only know you've passed or you're ready until you get in the exam room and you actually do it. And by actually doing it, that's how you'll be able to learn and pick up a lot more feedback that you need to even grow your business and give it a bit more structure. So you can plan it as much as possible, but then don't wait too long to start. Always test your ideas, whether it's with your family, your friends, or even at your school, your local school, or your local
Yeah.
neighborhood market. Like test out your ideas, get that feedback, because that will really give you the structure that you would need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the other thing I'd say is be your own biggest supporter because sometimes
Oh, that's
it
important.
can get challenging. It can get challenging, and you might not always have someone there rooting for you, which is why your why for your business is very important. So I mentioned before, like the why is what got me through changing the branding for my name, and
Mm-hmm.
my why is still what would keep me going even right now. Even if I might have any future challenges, the stronger your why, the stronger you'll be in order to face those challenges. Yeah.
I love those advice. You know, these are really, really great advice. And I hope that a lot of people that are watching you today, they're able to take that with grain of salt because especially I love the fact that you said you need to put yourself first and kind of understand what you're doing and then also understanding your why. Because for most people that are building businesses, if they don't know their why, it's really hard for them to even establish a brand identity and to even
Mm,
to create their value proposition as to like how are they going to be setting themselves different from competitors. And it's great that you're able to highlight that. And I feel like a lot of people that are watching you, they're going to get a lot of valuable wisdom from you from the advice that you share as well. Thank you so much for that.
thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
So
And if anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'll
yeah,
say a lot of entrepreneurs are people or celebrity like figures that you might see. They're
yeah,
always willing to help
yeah,
and give advice. So
yeah.
send out that email, network with them. But I'm also available if anyone has any questions.
Speaking of you being available, where can they find you?
Oh, yes. So if you'd like to connect with me professionally, you can find me on LinkedIn. You just type Wangechi Mwaura and you should be able
Yeah.
to find my details. But for the Sweet Safari, you can find us on Instagram and on TikTok at the Sweet Safari double underscore. So at the Sweet Safari underscore underscore. And we'll be launching our website soon, so that people can be able to still read our story
Mhm.
and make more orders with us. Yeah.
Amazing. And for those who are having weddings, party coming soon, make sure to
Yes,
contact her.
definitely. We are so proud because we love to help people celebrate memories. And
Yeah.
one of our other whys is just, that you create memories each and every single day of your lives, and we want to be able to be a part of that journey, make
Mhm.
it even more memorable, and make it sweeter.
Yeah, I have my own cake story. So I remember when was it? That was like back in 2016. I was coming up with like my business was it called 4th year anniversary, and I needed a cake and I didn't want it to be any ordinary cake. I actually wanted the cake to
Mm-hmm.
have my logo on it, and the girl was able to do like gold and white cake with the whole logo, and I was so excited. And that's why like I would say the industry that you're in, not only are you taking people wild idea bringing into life with the designing and creation, but you're also bringing joy and moment that like memory that lasts for,
Yeah.
know? And desserts are like such a unique moment, not for celebration, for just like kind of reminding. Even like when I go somewhere else and I tasted a cake somewhere, and years from now, if I'm able to taste it again, I'm like, yeah, I remember the day that I actually tasted for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And
It gives you that nostalgic feeling. Like I've had this
yeah,
before. It reminds me of this. Like it's such a sweet memory,
yeah.
a sweet way to evoke memories.
Exactly, exactly. And that's
Yeah.
why I feel like, you guys have this special way of reminding us of like the good times.
Yes, in a sweet way, very sweet way. Yes.
Sure.
So I'll invite everyone to come on this journey of sweetness.
Yeah. So what's next for Safari? I know you talked about expansions, getting into the big retail and also collaborating with like movies and things like that. What other exciting projects are you currently working on?
So some projects I'm going after some few grants and
Yeah.
such competitions, which we
Hmm.
hope to win because you do need funding.
Yeah.
Working full time and running my business. I love both jobs that I do. They're both very
Yeah.
fulfilling, but
Yeah.
I need more funds to be able to grow the team so that I don't have to do everything on my own.
Hmm.
But yeah, other than that, it's just to strengthen partnerships
Hmm.
and collaborations. One thing that I'm excited to work on for this year would be the Street Safari experience.
Hmm.
So this is going to be a day whereby I'll be able to invite Black entrepreneurs within the food industry to showcase their businesses
Hmm.
at a sort of like a small vendor marketplace. But then with that, I would also be showcasing my desserts that I'll be having. So I'll be having like a selected tasting menu for people to be able to taste these desserts
Hmm.
and have a live interaction with them and also learn the history behind them as well.
Amazing. I actually
Yeah.
have a colleague that is also in the food industry, but she's based in USA.
Mm-hmm.
I will try to get you guys to
To
speak and
connect.
connect with each other. Yeah, because I feel like you both are kind of in similar industry with similar mind. And hers, I believe she does a lot of like storytelling with those foods. And
Okay.
she tells a story. Yeah, she's based in US. I can definitely like after this conversation, we connect the two of you guys together. It will be really amazing.
Mm. That'll be really amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
I love to connect with people. And the other one other project I have is, so I have the sweet safari side of things where it's the
yeah,
desserts, the custom cakes that I make. But then one thing I want to work on is similar to what you just mentioned about storytelling.
yeah,
So I have another Instagram page, which is the Sweet Safari Experience, where I'll
yeah.
be sharing stories and history about different types of desserts in Africa. So with that, I hope to collaborate with other
Mm-hmm.
um, food businesses and entrepreneurs in the industry to be able to showcase that.
And when is that event coming up? Is it this year?
Yes, so the Sweet Safari Experience event would be this year.
Amazing.
I'm thinking for the third quarter of this year.
Awesome. If it's in Toronto, I'll definitely come and attend and
It's
support.
gonna be in Toronto, so I'll definitely send you the invite.
Thank you,
Mm.
thank you. Yeah, and then another thing you mentioned earlier, how funding is also like another process that you wanted to kind of work on. And I know there's many aspiring entrepreneurs that also struggle with funding. Like, how do they find like early finance, especially for supporting their business and things like? Do you have any advice on how they can go about it?
Yes, so advice in terms of funding, I would say look at the Ontario government website. They
Yeah,
have a list of grants that they usually update yearly on.
yeah,
But other organizations to look at would be things like the Black Founders Network.
mm-hmm.
Um, just trying to remember them off the top of my head. There's a couple of organizations. I wish I can send a list to you, but
Yeah,
then outside just research them. The internet could be a best friend. I
yeah,
know there's a Black entrepreneurship, there's a Black ecosystem something, but
yeah.
there's some organizations that year on year they give out grants to entrepreneurs
Amazing.
and help them with funding. And even certain organizations like the one I mentioned, the Black Founders Network, they
Yeah,
have Smart Start and accelerated business programs
yeah.
that entrepreneurs can be able to join in on.
Amazing, amazing. So before we depart, this is one question that I always wanted to ask. What would you say is one of the moment that you realize, you know what, the sweet safari was is making an impact? Like that moment, you're like, you know what, I could do this for the rest of my life.
Oh, well, the moment I realized that, I think it would be at the last vendor event I attended,
Yeah,
which was the Be Her event at the University of Toronto in
yeah,
collaboration with the Black Founders Network.
mm-hmm,
So that event was celebrating, it was International Women's Day event celebrating a lot of our Black women entrepreneurs.
mm-hmm,
So I got to be able to do a table setup. I had even a dummy cake where I was showcasing one of the cakes that I've made.
mm-hmm.
And there I connected with so many women and they were just so happy to have to interact with the desserts that I was making.
Yeah,
And I was also selling them as well, and I sold out. So that was also like a good confirmation for me as well.
yeah,
But then through each interaction, the conversations I had, I was like, wow, we are really doing something really great here because even some people who are from southern part of Africa,
mm-hmm,
well, not necessarily South Africa, but more like maybe Zimbabwe or
yeah,
maybe Namibia, they've also have they've also their lives have also been influenced by South African desserts. So when
yeah.
they came up to me, they're like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I haven't had this in a long time." And one even said, "Oh my gosh, I made this the other night. Thank you for giving it to us here." So it's like I'm like, yeah, no, there's definitely a great potential for this, and I
Yeah.
have to just keep on going. Yeah.
Well, I love that. I love that for you, and congratulations. And continue making people smile. Continue making people or everlasting memories with these desserts. You know, it's something that we need. And the fact that you're able to bring African dessert to Toronto, to allow people to actually experience that is something so unique myself. And I look forward to share your stories and also like spread the word in the community so that more people get to know more about you. And I look
Mm.
forward to the day where I can actually walk into like Freshco or No Frills and see your brand on shelf.
Yes. I look forward to that day.
Yeah.
Yes, well, thank you so much. This has really been amazing talking to you and sharing with the audience about my entrepreneurship journey and the sweet safari. It's really, it's my little baby. Now businesses are like our babies. We grow them.
Yeah, the Sweet Safari is here to grow and here to stay. So
Yes, it is.
thank you so much for being here. It's an honor and privilege to have you and continue doing the amazing work that you do and continue to inspiring so many people, as well as I know there's going to be some people that are reaching out to you regarding it can even be collaborations, it can even be maybe the ordering from your food. I'm just so happy about the journey that you're in, and I look forward to see more success for you as well.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I really appreciate it. And
You,
I love what you're doing with your podcast and giving opportunity to entrepreneurs and other creators in the industry just to share their story. It's really amazing. So keep on doing it.
Thank you. Yeah, because a part of actually the reason of why I do this podcast is because there was at some time I was in the modeling industry as a model, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of photographers and designers would reject working with the newbies, and then a lot of them they'd be like, oh, you know what, I want to be working with this photographer, but they say because I'm not published, I don't have anything in my resume says I've been featured here and there. So it's really hard for them to get that, gigs. So I'm like, you know what? Since I'm already in the industry and I collaborate with so many people in the entrepreneurial spectrum, why don't I open a platform to be able to help and support them by writing an article? So initially, it was just me writing stories on these models, on these artistry, whether it's like a musician and things like that. Then I
Mm-hmm.
thought, you know what? Let's go beyond that, because not only do we have people in the modeling industry, but we have a lot of incredible young people that are doing amazing things. Not a lot of people giving them chance or opportunity to know what they're doing, why they're doing it, right?
Yeah.
And I realized that people actually, when they want to connect with your brand, they want to know about the CEO stories. They want to know,
Mm-hmm.
why did you open this brand? What is your story? What got you to actually, think like you can make this business, and I realized that when I started doing that and I started inviting more people to actually share about their brand story, they actually have a lot of impact. And then few years down the line, there's few people that actually reach back to me. They're like, hey, because of you, I'm getting featured on your channel. I got this grant approved. I got this job. I got this. So it
Oh.
became a community impact. And that's why I wanted to continue on like working and expanding my platform to allow that to continue to happen. And also being a part of the George Brown alumni from Start GBC, I'm like, there's so many in people that actually graduate from that program, and me myself as
Mm-hmm.
a graduate, I wanted to also reach out to be like, you know what, let's also tell the stories from our perspective of how those Start GBC and George Brand have impacted us by, because I came to George Brand to change my career. I was in a kinesiologist, but then I
Mm-hmm.
turned to the business side of the marketing. So now I'm like, okay, they gave me a chance to change my life and become an entrepreneur. And now I wanted to also share the stories of those students that are there as well. So that's
Yeah. Wow.
Lexi.
That's really amazing. You're opening doors for people, and
Yeah.
that's really amazing.
And that's why I
One
guess
day we
excited.
need to do yours so you can tell us your story.
No problem at all. And I also like I get so excited whenever I have another, especially when it comes to like Black people or African people that are doing amazing thing. It makes me so excited because I'm like, my sister is doing something so amazing. Let me cheer her. Let me like root for her because we need more.
Yeah. Yes, 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 we do.
Yeah,
We
so
need
I'm
more.
excited.
Oh, thank you so much. I really
Yeah, so
appreciate
thank
it.
you. Thank you so much for
Thank
taking
you.
time to be busy day to being here. It's an honor. And I wish you all the best and success in life.
So hit that subscribe, stay along for the ride with Neecee Lexy. The hustle's worldwide.